Hey everyone, welcome. This is my first video. This is where I gotta put the money where the mouth is. I'm gonna try to be as very brief and crisp yet organic as I can. I have my notes here to keep me in that train of thought. My weird notes and drawings. So. Speaking of excitement, I'm going to cover emotions in this video. This video I'm going to focus on two components of emotions, and that is regulation and responsiveness. So regulations, personally, for me, my sons have autism spectrum disorder, and just getting educated on that, I just had a lot of knowledge, and I learned a lot of stuff about myself with regulating emotions and thoughts that breed from that. And as far as responsiveness, I mean, we see it every day. You know, narratives, a lot of wasted words and energy with justifications and all these tangents that people jump off with. It gets chaotic and messy. That's entertaining at times, but unhealthy. That's emotions that's juggled. So let's break it down. And again, please don't mind me as I refer to notes. First off, we're going to start with explaining what emotions are. And of course, happy, sad, angry, that's what we think of emotions. But just branching out from there, we have, cues. And these cues serve us. It motivates us to do things, ourselves or others, as well as communicates. It communicates to us. And a lot of times, when we have emotions, our brain gets into autopilot mode. Not yet, it already is there, and the words get created. Our emotions become words, which are thoughts. So sometimes we don't process emotions, or we're not aware of it because we don't process it, and that leads to just being oblivious to it. And that leads to regrets, it leads to these heavy emotions, and just getting into that itself, I want to say one thing, because at times when we choose to engage with people and respond based on what we're getting out of it, we either engage hostile or with words combative, any way you want to label it, or we put on a mask, we smile, and we think we took the high road and we're the better person, and that showed them. But in reality, what happens is that has a hold on us, and when we do that and take the high road, there's times where we obsess of it. We obsess about the situation, we hold on to it, it has a hold on us, and it manifests in our lives. We manifest it, and that's just the same as being combative. It has the same results, and those are traumas, believe it or not. Traumas, we think of abuse, physical and emotional abuse and violence, but traumas, it could be coming from small places as well. It depends on who you are, upbringing, different factors like that. But let's focus on this subject. And as far as being the person on the high road, or the person that is the defender, right? You're advocating for yourself, you're defending yourself, you're fighting for your cause, your belief. That wasn't right, that wasn't fair. One thing that's really important in this video to remember comes from both of those things. And often at times, with emotions, we tend to make everything around us factual from emotions, and a lot of times it isn't that way. It's not that way. So that's the root of getting things confused or misunderstandings or regrets. And when we do that, it leads to burned bridges, and as I stated, regrets. So it could be detrimental, so that's a big key. It's good to be careful, and you can't process your emotion as the facts of the world. You can't do that. You got to be really careful with that. And that being said, when we label people or we assess and we think about an experience, we often say, "Oh, that person is crazy." We use that ugly term, or we say, "Man, this person, man, they're so panicky and fidgety, so sensitive." When we make these assessments, these are emotions, and it's different components of it. Now, you can lack skill, and that could be with a peer in a workplace. You might label them as a hypocrite, but in reality, they're great people, but it's not intentional to be explosive and reactory, and defensive, and that comes from skills that are lacked. So you have that. You have biological aspects, as I stated. Depending on like moods or actual responsiveness with emotions, that has a huge effect on how the person treats people and reacts to the world. So it's a lot of components like that could be slippery, that could cause overload to different situations like that. And I made this little chart here just to really be visual, because this isn't a visual conversation. This isn't a visual topic, and I could have my own narratives if I wanted to, and be biased. But why do I have to freaking do that, right? It's no gain. Here's a little chart. This chart here, very simple. You have the response of the mind. It's not bad to have emotions and reactions, because our brains already do that. That is located around our brainstem. This data that's processed. The response, which leads to the event. So you have that happening, that's in our minds, but you have two main pathways, because there's a lot, but like I said, one video at a time. You have the wise mind, and then you have the reactory that comes out. And when you have this experience happen in your life, and you choose a reactory, that's where the regrets lead into it. And again, you could think that you're being the better person. You could think that you advocated for yourself and you took the high road. You didn't speak. You were appropriate. But if you're internalizing that grief and those heavy emotions that you're feeling, and you keep on digging into it, you're doing the same thing. So in order to really get a hold of what I'm saying in this video, here's the main key points, right? We have the experience that occurs. So you're in your environment. I'm using the example as person to person, but it could be internal, it could be whatever. Apply it, to your life. You have the experience that happens. You're going through it, or it happened already, and the next healthy thing to do is to assess what's going on or what happened. So you have to be accessible to it. You can't avoid it, because it's happening regardless. You can't give off that. If you believe in vibrational energy like I do, you can't give off that energy based off of your performance with your body language. You can't do that. So you have to be a little vulnerable here too. But the best thing to do is practice active listening. It's one of the best things to do in that situation. You actively listen before you engage and react. So when you become accessible and you're vulnerable to the situation, that leads to the sensations. What is it that you feel? And this happened to me a lot, but there's times where we're so used to, based on our experience of upbringing and all these things, that we ignore what our mind is telling us through emotions. That is the science of it. That leads to the behavior. So there's times where your hands tremor or your legs shaking, or with me, I get the heat spells, I get hot and I itch and everything. When you feel these things, try to be mindful of it. Practice mindfulness. Because when you do that, you're then saying, whoa, my mind's telling me something here. I don't feel right about this. And that's when the intuitiveness of the mind kicks in. When you scan your body. And when you do that, and you're already in that environment, or you already assessed what's going on and how you feel, then you know what could serve you. You could figure out the way how that situation can serve you. Because that sensation that you feel, in order to get the right response from it, you're going to feel the urge. That's the fourth step. You feel an urge. And sometimes when you're like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. Like, why can't I just say something? I feel this, I feel that, but I don't say it. Sometimes that's your mind having your own back, because it's not meant for you to say something, but you're not conscious of it. And when you're not allowing yourself to go through that, and you're having your own back, then your awareness kicks in, and you're able to actually, the saying when people say, you're not worth that, you're better than that. Don't do this. Don't go for that. Sometimes your life coach inside, that's the response here. The response. That's the reaction, but the response, it's fight or flight. So sometimes in a situation, you fight or flight. That's an instinct. We're mammals. But sometimes you don't have to always fight. Sometimes you gotta let things happen. You gotta listen before you engage, because it's not serving you. And when it's not serving you, and you're advocating for yourself with being knowledgeable of what your mind is telling you through your emotions, the response, and staying regulated to be able to assess what's happening, how you feel. When it's impartial, when it's not based on your insecurities or your flaws, and you get that intuition in your mind. Any belief system you have, but when you get that intuition in your mind, that's the practice of awareness. So then not to get into that situation, to not engage, or if you do engage, you're advocating for yourself. You're liberating yourself. And the best thing about that is, if it's a reoccurring problem that you're facing, after you know the sole truth of you serving yourself first, not anybody else, is you. You have kids, obviously. You have to do it for your kids, but you have to focus on your health before you focus on another person's that's responsible for their own health. You then say, this is a problem. This is just a natural difference. And you free yourself from that situation. That's the after effects. Once you sense that urge, you know when it's the right moment, the right time, after feeling the sensations and reading your mind, reading your cues and what's in your mind and the emotions. That's when you don't react. That's when you're calm, you're not fazed. So That's the after effects about it. You know, everything else is hearsay. So, this is my video. This is what I did. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be doing way more stuff. I'm covering emotions. That's going to be the kickoff to this channel. And this is my first emotion video. Responsiveness and regulations. So you can leave a comment. And I hope I provided you the tools. I send you my love. I hope you're well. And be gentle and kind to yourself. That's the essence of being regulated. You have to know your worth and not be a harsh critic. Be open to criticism, but do not be a harsh critic. Because you can't stay stuck in here either. Don't go crazy in your head. But just know, deep breath, make a game plan. There's always a tomorrow. Live it like it's your last. So, there you go. I have my social media pages, links. I have the links into my channel, so you can click those links to my social media pages. And take care. Have a good one.